from traditional marketing and media to more modern digital marketing and media and the integration of the two. And one of the things I want to do is drill down into some of the specifics of service that Evolution of Communication offers to clients. You cover a broad area that includes web development, helping people improve search engine optimization, the whole area of social media, and online display advertising, experiential dimensions to marketing. Let's talk a little bit about just website development, which is conventional for many, but the big difference is that Evolution of Communication helps people utilize the web in that larger context of the other digital mediums. But let's just talk about website development. And also, Jeff, share with our listeners what are some of the short-sighted shortcomings of a lot of websites, and how you help to people, help people to broaden the reach of their websites.
Well, first off, I'll say once again, everything comes down to about the consumer. Anything that's done, anything, website development, anything comes back to who your consumer is from the business and how do you reach them. When you look at website development, the big thing is if someone built a website a couple of years ago, it's probably antiquated. A lot of old websites are built on HTML code, and it's hard coded, so it was very difficult to change out text on a website. So if a company want to change it out, they're going to go pay someone again to go through all that. Where what I talk about a lot now is really it's a content platform. What you're doing is you're creating a platform. It's a website, but it's a content platform because you want your consumers to come to your site, engage with your company, find all the information they need to know about your company, but also get to know you as a company. Beyond that logo, beyond that image, it's who you are and what you stand for. So when it comes down to that, and you're creating a website, it's a lot of things you're thinking about. And we talked about it before. You heard me once again last week. About search engine optimization. It's not just, I laugh because there's a commercial on TV now, and it's like, yeah, put on a website, go in there, it's easy, 1, 2, 3 steps, and you have a website, and it's $150 or whatever that is. The problem is they're not thinking about the bigger way to approach that. Really.
Picture,
yeah, because when it comes to the digital space, we talk about, what is it? I think it was like 2 million or 24 million or whatever, 200 million websites out there. So how do you stand out? I mean, Google gets about 80% of the search engine traffic, so how do you stand out to them?
Right, and one of the biggest mysteries to a lot of businesses is how do I move up on the
search engine rankings?
On the search engine rankings? And I have found even a lot of professionals who find that it's somewhat mysterious, but there are people like you who understand what the range of influences are that can help you, because when they start talking about the algorithms and how it is that they begin ascribing a value by virtue of number of hits and other kinds of exposures on the web, it starts to sound a little mysterious, and you realize, well, it's a grandiose popularity game. How do I improve my popularity?
Yeah.
And in a sense, that's what you help your clients to do.
Exactly, and I'm talking at a high level here. Meaning, I have my search engine marketing guy that gets into the minutiae and gets down to the specific details on how we're going to execute a plan. But speaking at a higher level, the point is, if you have a website that is never updated, Google they think that you're irrelevant. They don't value your website because they're like, well, there's no updated content, so they're not really that popular. So that's how you drop in search engine rankings. Whereas if you're doing things, if you're blogging, you're adding video content on your site, you're keeping your site fresh, Google's gonna say, you know what, there's some good stuff happening here. So just from that alone, it helps you to rise up on search engine rankings.
Well, let's share, if we can, in a simplified way, a lot of folks who have had a website developed or are attempted to create one on their own know a little bit about meta tags. But explain about meta tags and how it's a little bit more than just keywords,
Well, the deal is when you look at, it's meta tags because you can tag a page. Once again, Google sends what's called the spiders that come in and they scroll your whole website, all the content there, going, okay, you're saying you're XYZ of a site, this is what you're focused on. Do you have that content in your site so it kind of justifies what you're saying?
Right, let's just say you sell women's shoes, and so we know that women's shoes are at least two of those keywords.
Right. So you want to have that inside the content. So Google's going to scroll through and say, okay, how many times is women's shoes, let's say, mentioned? So when you look at the blog standpoint, you're looking at what you're tagging on that blog. You're putting women's shoes, or you're putting specifically to Sandy Springs shoes. Let's say. So someone goes out there on Google, because that's the most searched used search engine, and they're looking for a shoe store in Sandy Springs. Happen to put in Sandy Springs shoes. You've had that maybe talked about in blogging. Let's say you had those keywords in there, and then you tagged it also. It's going to help rise up because that's what someone's searching for. So if you're doing all the things to be relevant, you're going to rise up in the search engine because Google's going to say, well, this person's searching for, and you have that. And in Google, all they want to do is match up the most relevant content that someone's searching for with the content that's on a website.
Right.
They're trying to marry those two.
They're really trying to make it easy for the consumer.
That's how they make money.
And in the case of something like the women's shoes in Sandy Springs, certainly if you have a bricks and mortar retail location, you're definitely going to want to include something like Sandy Springs. It becomes a little bit less important when you're strictly online. A business.
Online shop. Well,
yeah.
No, it's actually very important when you're on online because that's the only way you can get business. Is what you do online or in the digital space. If you don't have a physical like location and it's just like an online, let's say this content platform you're selling there, you need to be heavy in all this stuff because that's the way they're going to be found.
No, what I meant was specifically the Sandy Springs.
Sure.
Doesn't become as important as Jeff Mello women's shoes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
You don't need the geographic location.
Unless you're trying to brand your name of your company. Then if that holds something, then you can do that.
Right. You want to include some keywords that help people get to you, as opposed to just those two super generic women's shoes. And then you want everybody understands the concept of having those keywords appear throughout the content and how that relates to meta tags. But now let's talk about some of the other aspects of making that website, improving the searchability of the website.
Well, it comes down to, once again, from the back end stuff, is making sure you have all the correct meta tags and you have it all indexed the correct way. But the things you can do to help it, once again, blogging is, all my clients I recommend, you need to have a blog because it creates an image for your company. An example is I just formed a relationship with a printing company in Marietta that they don't offer what I offer, and meaning I work with another company to do printing. I don't physically print stuff from Evolution Communication. She was doing search for social media in Atlanta, and she came up with these videos. But because of all the stuff I've done through my blog and blogging about social media and how I've tagged and how I've done my stuff, she kept coming back to my videos. So she watched my video. She got to see that I'm who I am as you see me, Ron, normal guy. I don't pretend to be above anybody else. We're all here together. But she saw me as that. She said, "This looks like a normal guy that knows his stuff." We set up a meeting. Next thing you know, we formed a partnership, and we're working together and how we can work with our clients on both sides.
And I should point out to listeners out there that you might be on WWW Radio Sandy Springs listening to us, but if you're able to also pull up www.evolutionofcommunication.com, you can see what we're talking about because Jeff utilizes his own website to be linked into his blog and LinkedIn in other ways, but you can actually then see Jeff in a video on his site. And so many people don't understand that you reinforce your brand if you're able to create a blog which just addresses some popular topics related to your business, and that by virtue of people going to the blog, it increases the number of hits, and then it all adds up to making your site more searchable. And in fact we're going to be talking about some other things, link building, web analytics, keyboard analysis. DMOZ, submission, usability, CMS, cost per conversion.
A lot of crazy, right? A lot of crazy stuff there. Like, what the heck is all that?
Take any of that, Jeff, because we're not going to be able to drill down into all of it.
I'll give a key thing. Yeah. And I'll say that, let me jump back for a second because you say all those words like, what the heck is all that stuff?
But for listeners out there who are in the field or who are thinking about a website, even though we're not even able to take the time to explain about each of those areas, you need to know that these are different dimensions that Jeff and his company, Evolution of Communication, addresses specifically to help clients understand what usability
Yeah.
is and how to improve it and cost per conversion and
all the crazy stuff
all the
there.
crazy stuff.
What I say is, and I said a lot of clients, is that I'm a decoder. Really, I'm a decoder. All I am is I have all this knowledge about, invented media for over 13 years. Have this technology side from when I co-founded a sports calendar website, buzzcal.com.
Which we're going to talk about, by the way. I want to talk a little bit about the evolution of the company.
And so all that technology background. So what I do is I take all this crazy stuff of other words you just threw out there. I decode that for a business owner in a way that they, in layman's terms, so they can understand it. Because to me, I want to be demystified. I'm not trying to play games. I'm not trying to be, I'm going to throw a million crazy words at you and see if I can charge you $1 million because I can say that. No, it's everybody has to spend their money wisely, and each dollar they spend they have to get something out of that. So what we do is help them to say, okay, what's your, what are you trying to achieve? And then we just create a strategy about that. So that's just a side note. Just the decoder thing is just because those words, they sound like, what the heck are you talking about?
Right. Again, we start off at the top of the program talking about how the whole field of digital marketing and media is a mystery to a lot of people.
Right.
And also the searchability of websites is a mystery to a lot of people. And so much of what you're doing is helping to demystify, decode, and explain, what these different dimensions are. And then how to take advantage.
Yeah. One example, we had a seminar last week, and we had someone in that seminar talk about how they were having a website built out, and the person, I don't know if they're new or whatever they were doing, but they built it in what is called frames. So if you build a website like that, Google's not reading any of that content, so it's just useless. You put all that work in, and it's nothing. Meaning, if Google doesn't see you, you're useless, because if 80% of the traffic's there, and you're not being seen, you're done.
Take a moment, Jeff, and explain that to people. When you say you're invisible.
Yeah, it's because what you want is Google, once again, to scroll. They send their spiders that scans to your website for all those keywords and all the content, so you show up on the search engine rankings. If your site is framed in, which old sites, there are a lot of old sites out there that are framed in, what happens is it's locked down. Meaning in technological terms, it's locked down. Google can't read that content. So if Google cannot read that content, you're not going to show up on search engine rankings because it's like you're invisible, and you're done. If 80% of the traffic is searched on Google, and meaning in all search engines, you can't see it.
And so how do people avoid being locked down?
Is make sure that your content is, when you're building your platform out, you got to make sure your content's readable by the search engines.
You want to use a content management system.
Yeah, a platform
that's more open. And
Joomla, WordPress is what we're doing, and my company focuses on really those two are to me the best platforms. Because, once again, my goal is not to build out a platform for a client and then have them have to call me every single time they want to change something little. I'm not about nickel and diming anybody. So with those platforms, they can easily change out the text and change out things they want to do, like from the blog too. And to me, that's the best, from a pricing standpoint, makes the most sense. You do the most stuff that you can do, and then you bring us in for the bigger items.
And once you have more open architecture, does it help to sort of update your content?
Yes. Yeah, because once again, then you're updating it more frequently and you're helping with the search engine rankings.
We're going to take a break. We're here with Jeff Mello of Evolution of Communication. We've been talking about a lot of different dimensions of digital marketing and digital mediums. We'll be back with Jeff right after this break.